Claude, it
Yeah.
came up again.
It
Dun,
sure
dun, dun,
did.
dun.
I think I brought it up, actually.
Did you? I don't know. Well, regardless, we're going to give you all a little bonus episode, an amuse-bouche, if you will.
What is an amuse-bouche?
It's like a pre-appetizer. You're
Oh.
French. How do you not know this?
Amuse-bouche?
Amuse-bouche.
Amuse-bouche?
Amuse-bouche. Am I saying it right? I'm getting
Stick with English.
I'm getting just plain. Oh, all right, guys. As funny as this is, the actual episode. Oh, the reason why we wanted to do this one is I think this topic's come up at least 4 other times around whether or not you can be work besties with a individual that is above you or below you. And you guys have heard,
but I'm saying
hold
above
on.
you and but like
hold on, no, I don't want to hear it. Let them decide. So hold on. So we're going to let you listen because this is probably the longest rant we've had on this, between hearing a very exhaustive explanation from Jessica and a very exhaustive explanation from Claude, and from Naeemah too. And ironically, I think all 3 of us were a little bit different. So we're just going to let you guys listen, and then we'd love to hear your perspective.
My point is, and we'll continue, but it's about not your superior, like someone that is above you or below you, but in another department. For me, it's really above you.
I didn't say about another department. I just said somebody that's above you or below you.
Okay.
I didn't say anything about another department. Go eat your amuse-bouches.
Bûche de Noël.
We've just lost everybody listener in Europe because of my horrendous French.
Yeah, my cousins, the 3 cousins, and my sister.
I apologize to all of you. Je suis désolée.
Nice.
Look at that. See? I brought them back.
You brought them back.
All right, guys, with that, go listen to this episode, and we'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah.
Work Besties!
For me, it is very difficult to be work besties with your manager. For me, both of us, yes, on paper, I was a higher, title, which for me meant nothing, because I thought that you were at the same level as me anyway, but you were not reporting to me. So for me, I was able to have really those relationships and be able to say about things that I would not have said the same to someone that reports to me. So I know you two.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree.
So
I don't agree.
Please tell me not that I'm wrong, but see the other way.
Listen, I don't think you're wrong. I definitely don't think you're wrong, but I think there is a space because for me personally, I have become really good friends with not only people that I've reported into, but people also that have reported into me. And I think, at least for me personally, I can't speak for anyone else, Jess, and I don't know what your experience has been, but for me, it's also a matter of respect. So I think we can use an example, Claude. We have a mutual friend who was actually my superior, and we're the best of friends. I feel like we're the best of friends. I think that person would say the same. But I have a mutual respect for him. I have a mutual respect for him. I still look at him as a mentor. And respect is such a big thing. And also awareness, right? So like, if I'm reporting into someone, I'm aware that they are holding a position that requires them to show up in a certain way. So I can't be a good friend to them if I can't first be a good support system for them, which is what I'm hired for, right? I need to be able to support and actually that person and I have spoken about this before, where he said to me, one of the things that he valued was that I was such a great support to him. And I helped him to navigate through the environment, which was new for him. He was coming from out of the country and coming from a different part of the business and having to, lead in a different way and show up in a different way. And I helped him to be able to navigate that experience. But I that was my job. You know what I mean? If I wanted to still continue to work there, that to me was how I felt like I needed to show up. And if we were ever going to be friends, it was not going to happen if I could not support him and help him to achieve what he needed to achieve in his role. His success is also my success, right? And I think that to me is the space that friendships are cultivated. And I, we were friends on the job, and even though we're all not there anymore, we're still friends. I do know that it is a rare experience for many people because many people can't maybe compartmentalize it in that way. But yeah, Jess, I don't know what your experience is, but
yeah, I think your ending of it is kind of where mine would start. Like the compartmentalization is key, but at the same time, it's trust, right? Like I have individuals that when I started my career were above me, and they still are above me. And I hung out with them. At one point, I reported into them a couple times, actually. And I still would hang out with them personally. They know more about my personal life than a lot of other people, but yet we still have this great working relationship. And I think to your point, the fact that we know each other so well also helps us want the other to succeed at work too. Mm-hmm. So there is that fine line, right? Like you don't necessarily want to go to them and share everything or talk about everything, but you still have open and honesty. You still have the support that I know you love talking about, Claude. But it can be done. It's just you have to know and really have a level of comfort with that individual, which doesn't happen over time, right? Like, or
trust is a big word.
So that's where I make a difference, right? Being friends, which, yes, I can be friends, I can be friendly with the person above or the person under, right? Even though I don't like to say under, but that report. What I'm talking about is work bestie, where you can vent. You can, that's a difference between
venting,
friend friendly.
I still do go to that individual. You knew, I told you about a time where I was at a tipping point and I'm like, now it's time to bring in the big gun. So I'm going home. It's a different level, right? Like I'm not going to do day to day, but it's still
exactly.
Like in my personal life, I have I have personal besties that I don't talk to very often. Every once in a blue moon, I call them, and then we're instantly back, right? Like it's like no time has passed, and that's what I think. In my particular instances, my work besties that are above me and or below me are kind of like that, where I don't necessarily talk to them like you, Claude, every single day, nonstop. I'm not on multiple mediums, but I do talk with them, and when I do, it's just as connected. It's just as personal. Both from a work as well as personal life. And it is more of a friendship than...
It's a friendship. Exactly. That's why for me, like, I will be friend.
But we talk about work too. And it's known when we do talk about work with each other, because they'll share their stuff too. This is a non-judgment zone. This is we're not to then go blast it everywhere else, because you have that level of trust with that person.
But see, with my work bestie, that is a peer, like for example, Naeemah or you, Jess, right? I will be able to vent, to say anything. I would not see myself do the same thing to someone that reports to me, because I cannot, something that I will say to you guys, I will not be able to say to someone that reports, because then you do not want to show up and start saying, knock people that are on top of you to the people that are, reporting to you. And that's why I make the distinction
I mean,
a lot of things.
I get that,
What?
but I think there is still a level of trust with certain individuals that you can still have those conversations and explain the challenges that are going on around you. At least I feel like when I'm coming to people, and hopefully I do this to you too, although maybe it doesn't sound like it, I'm not coming just to like gossip. I'm coming to vent like,
Oh
this
no,
is
it's not about gossip. It's just
like a safe space for
knowing
me to
where
like
you
either
are.
say to you like, I just need
Of
you to hear
course.
me, or I need guidance and counsel. And I have that with some of the people that had work reported into me, or even do now, like where I feel like I can go to them and say like, here's the challenges. What do you think? Like,
I think
I don't know. I
trust
feel like
is a big.
but it goes back to trust, because I know they're not going to go running over and tell the person. They're going to be like, okay, so if I was you, I would do this. Or from my perspective, knowing that individual, here's how I would do it.
Yeah, I would do that once the person leaves. Like, for example, it's true. Like,
get your ass out of my
right
team,
now,
and then
right?
I'll talk to you.
Well, I would say
now I know why they're all leaving, Claude. They all want to be your work bestie.
No, but like, I know that, for example, if someone that is going to leave my team, I will be able to be more open in some stuff that I'm experiencing.
I think
later on they can, but not while I'm there.
I think that's where I differ from you.
I don't know.
I don't feel like I had to hold that back. But again, I don't do that with everybody. I have to have a level of trust with them that is.
It's trust. It's trust. I had a boss who vented to me about their boss, who was also my boss, but just, further removed. Plus one. And at first, when that person shared those things with me, they were definitely like, oh, it's so unprofessional, I shouldn't do it. But they needed to vent, of which for me, again, by them telling me that they were aware or that they felt that it was unprofessional, I knew that that was an uncomfortable space for them. So out of respect for them and their position, I understood that they were clearly in a difficult space, and I could be of support in two ways. One, I could be of support of them to just listen and potentially give advice instead of pushing them into a gossip space. It was more about, okay, I give you this space to vent, but then also it was something for me to understand how they were dealing with the experience, or how they planned to deal with the experience, or how the experience worked out for them, so that I could also apply those things if and when I was going to be in that same experience. But again, I think that takes skill. It also is trust, and maturity
and detachment.
Maturity is also a really big one. And judgment, Claude, is a big thing, right? Because we all kind of pass judgment and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that what else I'd layer into that too is the now being the person that does share with those on my team, or that are, at a level that's a little lower. So they are kind of somebody that potentially I could report into me at some point. I think the reason why I do it with those individuals, once I get that trust, is because I want them to emulate and see that like you're still human as you go through your journey in your career path, and that it's okay to have that 360 feedback from people of all ages and all levels within a career, because what I'm experiencing in some of my difficult situations are those that keep moving up the rank, but almost forget about what else has been going on.
Yeah.
Especially in the peer set and lower. And I don't think that sharing some of those challenges with anybody else is a wrong thing. I think it helps them see like, oh no, I get it. But to your point, you have to have trust. Like I don't do it with everyone, because I know that they're not in that headspace and ability to comprehend how and what I'm sharing and what that means for them. But the hope is that this helps them emulate, have empathy, have an understanding as they can continue in their career path, how they should be doing this as well.
Yeah.
So it's, again, I'm not trying to make everybody my work bestie.
Of course. And you can't, right? It's like you cannot be friends with everybody. You have to have this, click.
But you do still want to pay it forward, because I feel I had a few individuals do that to me in my career, and it did help me see things in a very different, unique way. And I felt empowered because they were willing to listen to my perspective and point of view. And it challenged me to stop the gossip and really think about it from a strategic approach or a business approach, or even kind of a ways of working, personality-wise. Like, it definitely puts you in a different perspective, and took the gossipy element out of it.
But is it more than, in that case, more of a mentor-mentee versus a work bestie?
I mean, I would say a mentor-mentee in some kind of capacity is still like a best friend, right? If you are able to and willing to share with them and break those barriers, then yeah, it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Not like the stodgy, there are some that like you have at work where people just assign you a person and you're like, well, I get this mentor. I think the ones that you are, the ones that you cut.
Like an unofficial, right? That you actually found yourself, not like a what is it?
Yeah.
A matchmaker,
But I think the ones that you do have as mentors, yeah, it kind of blends the line
it's
of that.
Interesting. I definitely think those two lines can be blurred. You could be besties with your mentor or mentee, and then just have a mentor or mentee experience. Some of my good friends have all been mentors in some capacity. Oh yeah. We also fashion these titles, on the and put people into these roles, and we're such fluid beings. Like we're very fluid. Like 1 minute, like I said, I think a good example is the example that we gave earlier. You may not like this person. I have many work besties who I started off not liking. Like I was like not a fan, or they were not a fan of me. And then later on we became, whatever happened, and it wasn't necessarily trauma, but whatever happened, however the relationship evolved, we then became besties, and we always revisit the experience. Like, how do we become friends again? And it's like, I remember I didn't like you. And I'm like, I didn't like you either. And then but that is the beauty of the experience, right? It's just the potential that we have to connect with one another is really a beautiful thing. And sometimes that person can be an enemy that you connect with.
Right. We did it. We went from a very silly opening to that very serious topic, profound topic. And I think you can hear that our responses were nuanced and coming all from very different examples and experiences. So now it's, I think, up to our audience.
What do you think?
What do you all think?
Can you be a work besties with your boss or someone
or people
that
who report
to
into you? I think that's as simple of a question as we can ask.
And we are going to put some posts about voting.
Stories. In our stories, if you guys can go to our stories and vote. We also welcome you to
DM us,
talk to us about it, create your own kind of
what do you
scenarios that you have had, and give us examples. We'd love to reference them back in some upcoming episodes too, and really take this.
And there's no right or wrong, right? That's what the beauty of it is. Everybody has their opinion,
way.
Which is actually
and then
the wrong way.
Is Claude's.
I don't think that it actually resolved anything, because
there's no right or wrong. But I think I'd love to hear the perspective and see
for everybody,
how everybody else, right, and how everybody else is evolving with it, right? And as we talked about, there are nuances. You brought up, even in the intro.
I forgot what I brought up. What did I brought up?
There's a difference if the individual is a superior that you report into versus in a different team.
So exactly. So for me, it's different.
You created nuances in and of or other rules of engagement in and of yourself. So let's hear from the peeps and see what they have to say.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
And even if you can't be friends, you still have to support each other. On that note, to all the work besties out there, keep supporting each other. Better and better.
We're amazing.
We rock.
Bye, guys.